This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this?
This is a sham.
No.
No.
Y'all, just stop.
Get real.
Welcome to DBL. Thank you so much for joining us. Everywhere you look on the news, you see story after story after story about Donald Trump's legal woes, right? All the indictments he's facing, he's including the ones that may be coming up. But despite all of that, I want you to check this out. Trump has a formidable lead in the polls with 54% of Republican voters preferring him as their presidential nominee. His closest competitor is Ron DeSantis, who's only getting 17% of support from Republicans. Again, these are Republicans and their preferences. So why is Trump keeping such a big lead with Republicans despite all the bad news and indictments that would typically sink other candidates? Al, I need you to answer this question right now on TV. He literally, I feel like when he said I could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue, we're getting close to, we're at the third indictment at this point, and he might be going to jail for espionage on 32 counts.
You can put a zero behind third indictment. It could be the 30th. It doesn't care. He is the party. I think the stat that we just showed, if you look at that, I think that's people that are for Trump and Trump only, and the rest of those people are old school Republicans. But he is the party, so when you keep going, well, how do we get that base? You can't unless you are him. So the question is, if he goes to jail, is that going to be what you bank your candidacy on? I think DeSantis and a lot of other people are hoping he goes to jail. And then that way they can kind of battle it out for a second place.
But you do realize he said he will run from jail even if convicted, which he constitutionally can do.
Right. I told Jeff it's going to be like that We Want Easy video. When Eazy-E rapped from jail. Yeah. And then,
is that true?
Yeah, and then at the end he busted out and finished the last verse on stage. But yeah, I think that's what I mean, honestly, Trump's people aren't going anywhere, Jeff. They haven't budged ever, really. Ever.
Shout out to Eazy-E.
Yeah,
shout out to that Eazy-E reference.
Yeah.
We want Easy, yeah. That reminds me of like a childhood driving by the basketball courts, man.
Yeah.
Just like throwing that on. This is totally off the show. Everyone's
Which
like,
is
what
what
are
you
you
want.
talking about? Yeah. Anything to distract me from Donald Trump?
Right,
Yeah. Let's talk about Eazy-E. I'm going to say this 1,000 times to the election, and this rings true, at least in my ears. The only answer to the overcorrectness that we've been experiencing in America, and maybe if you're on that side, you think everything's rolling good. If you're on the other side and getting steamrolled by that train, you're like, it's gone too far. I mean, talking about everything. The only answer to that is Donald Trump.
I see.
So it doesn't matter if he runs from prison, if he does that. The only answer to people on the far right side are like, Donald Trump is the answer to stop the overcorrectness. That's it. That's how simple it is. And the more things become woke and the more Donald Trump grows in popularity. But this is just a Republican Party poll.
Correct.
So it's over 50% in the Republican Party. Donald Trump does not have enough. Again, I don't know what I'm talking about up here. So go get a snack.
You feel.
He does not.
Honestly, like,
he doesn't have enough votes when you're going head to head with. It doesn't matter if. I was going to call him Bernie Sanders.
Biden.
Oh. I almost called him Weekend at Bernie's. If Biden's in there, or Weekend at Bernie guy, it doesn't matter. Trump doesn't have enough American votes, over 50%, to win the office. He might have over 50% of Republicans, but you could just string Joe Biden along in there. He will win head-to-head in Donald Trump. That's what I think.
Now, interesting, I just want to give you this. The New York Times, same poll, did a Biden versus Trump, not just Republicans. Guess what happened in the matchup? They tied at 43%.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, look, it's not.
I really just
don't
know
what Trump does? Trump makes people feel one way or the other. And I think that in a world that's increasingly numb and sterile and YouTube-y and just nothing that seems natural and authentic, just somebody that says what they feel almost in a weird way, like the same way Charles Barkley does, like he's just honest all the time, even if you totally disagree with him. I'm not putting them in the same vein. I'm just saying some people still have this organic ability to make people feel something, and I think the other candidates, as you see, just don't resonate.
Yeah. I just hope he doesn't feel the end of democracy. That's what I worry about. Speaking of politics, though, Hunter Biden's business associate, Devin Archer, he testified yesterday in front of a House committee. Now, it's a closed-door meeting, meaning the public was not allowed to hear the testimony. But depending on what news station you heard or watched, you saw vastly different things about what was said. So folks on the right are claiming Devin testified that Hunter would sometimes put his father, President Biden, on speakerphone while meeting with business associates. And this is the smoking gun proving that Joe Biden was involved in Hunter's business deals. But folks on the left are spinning this the other way, saying, yeah, he might have been on speakerphone, but Joe only exchanged pleasantries and that Hunter was only selling the illusion of access to his father. So, what do we make of this? How much do you believe? Which side do you believe? Al, what do you think about this closed-door meeting with Devin Archer? Did he shoot it straight? It's a smoking gun? Oh, my God. A speakerphone, he was getting access? Or what do you feel?
One more question.
Okay.
I would say that, does this look bad? Yes. Do I think that Hunter Biden has any influence over what has happened with our American politics? Absolutely not. Hunter Biden is a drug addict, and a pretty bad one. I wouldn't be surprised if Joe Biden was trying to do anything to prop his son up in the world of business and give him something to focus on. But when somebody's smoking crack, I cannot make the two things jibe, where you're a crackhead but you're also this mastermind. It doesn't work. And so you're either one or the other. I'd be all for using all of these improprieties to come up with some set of rules for how your kids are involved with this, because that's the way oligarchies start, when your kids are making political decisions. I don't like any of this.
A dynasty, really.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I honestly don't think that Hunter Biden was doing much. I think he's useless.
I just think, I don't know what to believe anymore. Is this true? Is it true? Give me some facts. Is it not true? Is Donald Trump's accusations true? Give me some facts. I don't know what's true, what's false. Donald Trump might be guilty of everything that he's done. I don't know, though. Joe Biden might, but we don't know. We just keep going back and forth, and depending on where you get your source from, each story is spun. So you could hear this story 10 times in a day from 10 different outlets and get 10 different reactions. That's where we're at, and I think America's tired.
It's so much noise. It's so much noise.
I think that's the point.
It's distraction. Coming up on DBL, are you cranky? Does the extreme heat affect your mood? Dr. Coley will join us to talk about why the recent weathers actually could be having a big impact on your mental health. And our interview with comedian Louis Black. He is back to weigh in on some hot topics. You don't want to miss it. And my impressions.
DBL, this show is amazing.
There's a lot going on down here.
I would have been part of the Mile High Club.
Yeah.
So on point. But I'm going to have a conversation about what's happening now. Okay, great. Okay.
Tori, am I being naive in thinking that Hunter Biden can't do anything?
No, but I do want to say this in front. I didn't have 100% enough time. Am I in the middle of the worst spot in the world? I have to be honest. I think Hunter Biden overstepped a lot of ways. He overstepped in Burisma. He overstepped in taxes. He overstepped with the gun charges. But I really want to make this clear. Everybody in D.C. gives the illusion of access, because that is what D.C. is. It's about power, access, house of cards. That isn't unusual. However, if President Biden was on the speakerphone and the illusion was given, they should look into that. That's wrong. But then you'd have to look at all the Kushner and all the other stuff.
Wrong in what way? Criminal wrong? Or just,
No.
You shouldn't have done that?
Yeah, maybe he just overstepped.
Okay.
Not like criminally wrong, but
Whatever.
uncomfortable wrong, which isn't a big deal, except that it's a talking point for the other side. So, and if you're going to go there, you got to go to the $2 billion that Jared Kushner got from the Saudis. We still don't really know about that. All this to be said is what Jeff said is it's want, because all we really want is fresh blood and a new conversation. Do you agree, Mr.
I don't know if that's
Most
all
of America
we want.
doesn't seem to want fresh blood.
That's exactly what I was about to say. I don't think they want
There's
fresh
no
blood
option.
at all.
What's the option of fresh blood?
But once somebody comes along that's new, they're like, they're too new. They don't know what
DeSantis
they're
is
doing.
fresh blood. He's totally fresh blood.
I don't think DeSantis has blood in him. I mean, he's a robot. If y'all saw him at the state fair, a girl comes up and goes, "Hi, this is my icy," and he goes, "Oh yeah." There's a lot of sugar in there. You just walk
I noticed you do the same voice for DeSantis you do for your mom.
My mother?
Yeah.
Judy, it's more up here. Jerry, I can't hear not one
That was
word.
a very similar voice.
Yeah.
Very-
No, I don't think so. Welcome back to DBL. There are lots of health stories making the rounds. We got Dr. Paul Coley here looking gorgeous as ever to tell us and break them down for us. Let's first talk about the thing we never stop talking about, Ozempic. We all know someone on it. Lots of people are using it for weight loss. Some are now saying it is paralyzing your stomach. What?
Well, not all that surprising, actually, and thankfully very rare, at least from what we can tell. But if you think about how Ozempic works, it reduces the emptying of the stomach into the intestines, because our stomach is a muscle. It squeezes after we eat to kind of move the food along. By reducing the emptying, the stomach feels fuller, so you induce a feeling of satiety. That's how you eat less. Now, if somebody has an underlying predisposition to their stomach already emptying slowly, we didn't know about it, and we put them on Ozempic, could we actually end up completely paralyzing that stomach so that things aren't moving down, they're actually coming back up, and that's what we're seeing.
Is this could this be temporary if you get off Ozempic? Do we know? We don't know.
No,
Okay.
and that's the problem, because it does kind of change the wiring. It changes the way the muscles work. It changes the way the brain interacts with the stomach.
Oh, wow.
And so for some of the people that are having it, they have not had reversal of it even after they get off of the Ozempic. So it's something that I think we as physicians, the FDA, should be keeping a really close eye on, especially as we start rolling this medication out to the masses.
Right.
Because if there's a few people in there whose stomachs don't empty normally, then it could make it worse. So should we be screening people for something like this before we start them on it? These are the questions that it really raises.
Wow.
I think it's funny that people are like, I don't want to get into the whole thing, don't even answer this, but people are like, I'm not getting a shot, I'm not getting that, don't give me that. But they're like, Ozempic, I can lose weight, give me that, give me that. It hasn't been tested anywhere.
Priorities.
Jam it in me.
Right.
Yeah. It makes me
Well,
laugh.
it has been tested, but to your point, it's an easy fix for
All right,
sure.
don't even go there. It's already a political day. All right, so there's a new study that says heat makes you cranky. What's up?
It is affecting Jeff for sure.
Yes.
So think about what makes us cranky. How do we feel? How do we know we're irritable or anxious? Our heart rate's a little faster. Our skin is a little warmer. We're just sort of not feeling like ourselves. That's what heat does. It kind of tricks our brain into thinking that we're anxious, we're more irritable, because it raises our heart rate. It makes us feel uncomfortable. And it can also have the opposite effect. It can make us feel more depressed because it makes us feel tired and fatigued. So our brain interprets those sensations as us feeling worse. And in fact, if you look at the data, when it's really hot out, you see more substance use, you see more emergency room admissions for anxiety, you see more anger, road
More crime.
rage. Yeah, you see more crime. You see all of the types of things that can affect our psychology. So it's really fascinating how the climate can affect how we feel.
More fights at Disneyland.
Yes, I do like the more crime. She agreed with you. She didn't. That's not a thing.
It is more people. No, we've had police people say that during the summer, crime increases.
That's because
due to
it's
that.
lighter outside.
Yeah, and it's not
because hot
snow.
out.
You're
on the
absolutely
ground.
wrong. Heat makes people more angry and more close to fighting. They jump off on things.
Dr.
quicker.
Coley, I've heard that hospitalizations are up because of COVID. Is there a summer surge?
So guys, this summer has been really weird because we're seeing summer colds like we've never seen before, and COVID is part of that. And I think what COVID has done is just kind of changed the landscape. It used to be you only get sick in the fall and winter, and the summer you kind of cruise. But now, because our immune systems, because of the masks, are not as conditioned, we're seeing a lot more summer colds. We're also seeing the fact that it's been so hot out, people are congregating indoors, and that's spreading those colds a little more efficiently. So it's not just COVID out. We're seeing adenovirus, echovirus, rotavirus, a whole host of infections over the summer.
Oh my goodness. Emma just wrote in MW, I have anxiety and depression. I'm always a mess during the summer. It's so much harder to handle. I get that when you're
Did she mention crime?
She did. It's just later on. DBL Nation, listen to Dr. Coley's podcast, The Heart of Medicine. You can listen on Spotify and Apple. Dr. Coley, thank you so much for joining us today. We will be right back. We can look up stats later.
Viral posts claim people working outdoors are being targeted by individuals handing out water bottles laced with fentanyl. Safety bulletins appearing to come from companies claim similar incidents have happened in California and Chicago. One post claims a worker died. A Verify viewer reached out and asked if this is really happening. So let's verify. Are construction workers overdosing or dying from bottles of water laced with fentanyl? Our sources are NPL Construction Company, San Diego Gas and Electric, and police departments in San Diego, Spokane, Washington, and Chicago. Verify reached out to all of the companies that were named in the post, and none were able to confirm that this actually happened. NPL Construction, which was named in an alleged overdose in Chicago, wrote that the incident supposedly involving one of its workers is entirely false. We also checked with police in each city referenced in the post, and they confirmed there are no reports of workers dying from water bottle poisoning. San Diego Gas and Electric, which posted an alert claiming this happened to one of its contractors, later retracted its post, and a spokesperson told us the source of this incident information could not be confirmed. So, no, there is no evidence that workers are overdosing, dying, or even being given fentanyl-laced drinks. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
The mystery of who brought cocaine into the White House continues.
John, I actually read that the Goo Goo Dolls' first album, it was put together for $750. Now, I want to know, where did most of that money go towards?
To buying cocaine to take to the White House.
What an answer! What an answer!
The mystery is solved.
Perfect. Comedian Lewis Black is known for his hysterical rants, and earlier he couldn't wait to give us his DBL take on some hot topics. And he even weighed in on what it's like being a caregiver. Take a look. Lewis, hi there.
Hello there.
Hello. We wanted Mr. Black to sound off on some hot topics we've been talking about, but first, we know you heard our conversation about caretaking earlier in the show, and you actually have something to share. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. My mother passed away in October.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Well, she was 104.
Oh, wow.
So you can't say too soon. But the reason, and my father lived to 101.
Wow.
And the reason I wanted to talk about this is that the two of them had met good friends who had been nurses, and they helped me and others establish a really wonderful group of caregivers who spent 24/7 with them. That doesn't happen. It was done inside a independent living places, and they had this extraordinary care, and were able to have a quality of life that you don't normally see in assisted living. It doesn't exist like that, and it really was extraordinary to watch. And I really wish that we started to realize that we have to begin to find and train and have a group of caregivers. It's an extraordinary way to help people.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. Thank you for
It's
that.
a special type of person that does something like that.
Thank you, yeah.
Tori, very close to her.
Thank you.
Thanks for weighing in on that. Let's get to some laughs, shall we? So Americans are eating dinner earlier now, and some 20-year-olds are even signing up for AARP discounts, which you have to be 50 to sign up for.
55, I think.
Yeah, what's up with this trend, Lewis?
The trend is a really smart trend. It's called Smart Kids. My mother would be proud of them. My mother would go, "What took these idiots so long? I can't believe they have those coupons and nobody's grabbing them." I mean, I'm the one, the difference is they send me at 45. When I was 45, the AARP started nagging me. Hey, you're old, retire. I'm 45, you idiots. So, so these, kids you get a concept of it. I was irritated by it. I don't want to be thinking about that. They're smart enough to know, oh, look, there's a deal here. All I was thinking was, you're telling me I'm old. They're smarter than I am.
I'm telling you, if anybody can pull it off, I would love for you to try and curate a special around just caretaking. Because I'm sure your anecdotes with your mom and how many people that will resonate with, I'm just putting that in the universe. I would love to see one of your next specials talk about that. We only have a minute left, so let me get to this. Mitch McConnell, obviously he froze up at that press conference. We've seen Biden falling. Let's be real, man. Should there be an age limit for lawmakers?
There should be, before you get to an age limit, they should have to take a basic skills test. They should, they should have to take their fingers and be able to put them together like that. If they can touch their nose, they should also have to do, you should just a test of like, can you add, can you subtract? Do you know what social media is? The problem is we've got people who are literally came from the industrial age and have no concept of the age we're living in. And if the people you're going to elect don't have a concept of what's, that we're in a different age and we're in a technological age and it's just going to get weirder, no. And I don't think it's an age limit. I just think it's a brain limit. And some of them are dumber than posts.
Louis Black for president.
He's running. Thank you for joining us on DBL, Louis. DBL Nation, if you want to hear more from Louis Black, check out his YouTube special, Tragically, I Need You. It's out now. Thank you, Louis. We appreciate it.
Thanks for your words.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Come
you.
back soon, man.
Thanks very much.
We'll be right back.
Especially in this heat, staying safe means staying hydrated. We checked with several sources to quench our thirst for a hydration education. Is being thirsty a sign of dehydration? Sources say yes. According to the CDC, by the time you feel thirsty, your body is already telling you that you don't have enough fluids. And while dehydration can make you more susceptible to heat-related illness, quenching thirst when it hits can keep you healthy.
By the time you feel thirsty, you're only, let's say you're about 1% dehydrated. That is not in any way a dangerous condition. It just means you need to top yourself off, essentially. So if you feel thirsty, you need to drink.
So grab a bottle and start chugging, right? Actually, no. It can be tempting to drink a lot of water in one sitting, but our experts say that's not as useful in long-term hydration. And for some people with other medical issues, it can be dangerous. The CDC says too much fluid in a short amount of time can throw off the concentration of salt in the bloodstream.
There is certainly an extreme upper limit of water intake that can be a problem.
So how much should you drink and when? The CDC recommends when working in the heat, drink 1 cup of water every 20 minutes or so and no more than 48 ounces or a quart and a half every hour. So raise a glass of water. What about iced tea or your favorite sports drink? Are other liquids more hydrating than water? It's quite a battle to get enough fluids, but our experts say the best weapon in most cases is still water. However, keeping in mind the impact of any added sugar to your diet, they say tea and sports drinks aren't bad options when you're feeling thirsty.
There was a very long-standing misunderstanding about caffeine, but it's been debunked now.
While Dr. O'Mara says it's still important not to overindulge in too much caffeine every day, the CDC says caffeine really doesn't have an effect on overall hydration and is not dehydrating like was once thought. Athletes or anyone working in very sweaty conditions could benefit from added ingredients in sports drinks. But for most people, the CDC says eating regular meals is enough to offset the minerals lost in the sweat.
And our kidneys do a beautiful job of regulating how much electrolyte we keep and how much electrolyte we pee away. Normally, water does the trick.
The only thing our experts say to avoid in situations where dehydration could be an issue is alcoholic drinks. Not only are they dehydrating in and of themselves, but they can also keep you from recognizing the other signs and symptoms of heat-related illness. Stay safe out there and stay hydrated. With your Verify, I'm Abby Larico.
Experts say Joe Biden's and Donald Trump's age shouldn't affect their ability to run the country. Let's connect the dots. The two men already have demanding schedules, whether they're in or out of office. And their physicians say both men partake in healthy habits, like avoiding smoking and excessive drinking. However, many voters still have concerns. A Washington Post poll found only a third of Americans believe Biden is mentally sharp enough to hold office. and about half of Americans believe Trump is mentally capable of being president. 4 experts analyzed the 2 competitors on their longevity after the 2024 election. All of them agreed the 2 could retain their physical and mental abilities all the way up until 2029, as long as neither of them face a serious injury or illness. And that is Connecting the Dots.
Welcome back. We've got some great products from Side Deal today. Check them out. Steph, what do you have for us today? Because we are shopping.
First up today, I know, we have got the 2-pack Perfecor Therapeutic Gel Bead Cooling and Heating Face Mask.
Wow.
These full coverage masks have hot and cold gel beads to deliver quick and effective relief.
Wow.
Normally these are $30 each, but we have got a 2-pack today for just $10. So that's saving you guys 83%.
Oh, imagine on this hot summer's day, it's cold on your face, you know, your eye puffiness is going down, you're sipping a water with lemon. I'm in heaven.
Next up today, we've got the Homedics Dual Use Infrared In-Ear and Non-Contact Forehead Thermometer. This thermometer shows results in 1 second and displays the last 9 temperatures that have been taken, so you can really track your health.
This is brilliant.
So normally this is $40.
That's not even bad.
We've got it for just $15.99. That's saving up to 60%.
If you have a fussy baby and you don't want to put them in the ear or the arm or anywhere else, this is the correct way to do it. It's much easier.
Next up today, we've got the Philips Norelco One Blade Face and Body Hybrid Electric Trimmer and Shaver.
Oh.
So the rechargeable One Blade Face Plus Body can trim, edge and shave any hair, any length on your body. It's all in one. Normally this is $50. We have got it for $34.99.
Nice.
That's saving 30%.
Stay at home and relax with this one product.
And then last today, Tori, we have got the Canary View HD Indoor Home Security Camera.
Oh.
And in addition to tracking motion, the camera's 2-way communication will let you hear and respond to family, babysitters, guests, and even your pets.
Oh.
So normally this is $120, but we have got it for just $39.99. That's saving 67%.
Ooh, I love all this stuff. All right, guys, you know what to do. Head on over to sidedeal.com to snag these amazing deals at the lowest prices. You can even visit sidedeal.com on your smartphone. Steph, as always, thank you so much. Before we go, we got my favorite story today. Video of this bear went viral in China. It's a sun bear waving to spectators at the zoo. The video made people question if this was a real bear. Here it is from another angle. Folks at the zoo have confirmed that this is in fact a real sun bear. It is not a man in a bear costume, as many have believed.
I don't know. At the end, it did look like a bear.
It did at the end, but not in the middle.
What do you think, Jeff?
It snapped into bear,
Right.
but when it was standing up, it was human.
Yeah, absolutely. What a strange-looking bear is built like an out-of-shape
There's like
man.
wrinkles that look like a costume
Wow.
at the butt. All right, we'll see you tomorrow.
that's
Same time, same place, barely.